Chapter 19. Moving up in the world. The summer of 1976 continued, with record ice cream sales, water rationing, and plenty of hot sunshine. And on the evening of one such day, at around 7 p.m, with the temperature still warm and the scent of pollen rich in the air, 2 girls and 2 boys were stood chatting in the local concrete bus shelter, whilst a 3rd boy, the one with the bright red bushy hair, stood apart from the others and waited for his new friend to arrive. The air was close and dry, so they were all dressed lightly, with the exception of Jennifer, who was looking decidedly uncomfortable in a matching dark blue jacket and skirt.
"I'll have to take this satin jacket off, Trace,"
said Jennifer, loosening the garment. What a good idea, agreed Jensen, studying her form. Hey man, you're so goddamn obvious, laughed Simon. It's the only way to be, lad. Faint heart never won fair lady. Jennifer ignored Jensen's comment. She seemed unusually serious this evening, maybe even a little nervous.
"So, what happened in last night's Coronation Street then, Trace?"
she asked, but with not much interest.
"Oh, well,"
began Tracy excitedly.
"You know that Ken Barlow? Well, he's tried to seduce that Wendy Nightingale. Oh, and that Gail Potter, she's just as bad. She was canoodling with the window cleaner."
"Have you got a boyfriend, Tracy?" interrupted Jensen. Tracy ran her fingers through her home bubble-permed hair and snapped back, but with half a smile.
"What's it to you? Why do you want to know that?"
"Well, I just thought that if you didn't have a boyfriend, we might go out one night."
"Oh, you did you?"
frowned Tracy, but still with half a smile, so as not to discourage him too much.
"And where would you take me then? The old bloody church, I bet."
"And why not?"
"Do I look that stupid, Jensen?"
"Well," smiled Jensen, and Tracy gave him a playful thump. But after a few minutes, the conversation inevitably turned to Harry Spider, who'd been conspicuously absent all day.
"So where's Harry today then?"
asked Jennifer, unable to keep quiet any longer. Johnny Depp's ears pricked up, and he moved in closer to the bus shelter to hear news of his missing friend. "Why'd you ask that? Are you supposed to be meeting him or something? Is that why you're all dolled up?" asked Jensen.
"I'm not dolled up, and it's only a casual arrangement with me and Harry."
"Oh, all right. Only casual, is it?"
"Yes, it's only casual. So where is he?"
she asked again, casually. Dippy moved in even closer, but Simon and Jensen just looked to the floor. "Simon knows where he is. Don't you, Simon?" Do I? Oh, yeah. He's, grounded. Yeah, bad news. He's grounded, isn't he, Jensen?" "Grounded? Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, that's not a good one, thing, 'cause he's been grounded." Jennifer frowned and didn't believe a word of it.
"Oh, he's grounded, is he? I bet he is."
Simon and Jensen were in trouble, and they looked to the floor again. Dippy was now practically in the bus shelter and was spotted by Jensen, who used his presence as a welcomed distraction. "Well, look who it is. What the hell do you want, you simpleton?" he asked, very relieved that he was able to change the subject.
I'm waiting for a bus."
And Dippy smiled at his fantastically quick-witted fib. But, as luck would have it, the bus came around the corner just at that moment, so Simon stuck out his hand to stop it. The brake squeaked as the bus pulled up beside them. "Well, aren't you going to get on it then, Dippy?" asked Jensen, over the noise of the rattling diesel engine. Dippy hesitated. He had no money, but he didn't want to appear stupid, and he really didn't have a choice, so he smiled and climbed on. "See ya!" shouted Jensen.
"Yeah, see you, dude,"
smiled Simon.
"Yeah, see ya." "Oh, well, that's a nice goodbye,"
thought Dippy, as he sat down at the front of the bus, and the bus conductor approached him.
"Wow, did you see that? 2 more friends,"
he said to the conductor.
"Oh, really? That's nice for you,"
said the Jamaican conductor.
"So where to then?" Town, please."
"That's 5 pence, please."
Oh, I haven't got any money,"
smiled Dippy, completely unconcerned.
"Well, bugger off the bus then." "Oh, can't I just go to the next bus stop?" "No, you bloody can't. Now get off, it's not charity week."
All the passengers were looking at him, and he had no other choice. So he stepped off the bus, and it hadn't gone anywhere. Simon and Jensen were laughing uncontrollably. They knew full well that he had absolutely no intentions of getting on the bus in the first place. "What an idiot you are!"
"Yeah, man, Dippy by name, and definitely Dippy by nature."
Dippy shuffled away again, humiliated but not yet broken, because he knew beyond any doubt that he would be friends with all of them one day. He just needed to perfect his foolproof plan. The day had passed predictably slow for Harry Spider, with the clock on the living room wall being dominant throughout. The minute hand struggled to climb the short distance to the top, then seemingly defied gravity on the way back down. Minute by minute, hour by hour, it was worse than being a child on Christmas Eve. He had avoided the others all day because somehow he knew that they would be negative about the whole situation. And also, if Victoria didn't turn up this evening, at least he could still enjoy the anticipation to the maximum. And what a great feeling anticipation was.
I mean, wow, if I could bottle that, I'd be a millionaire by the time I was 14. I'm still young enough to enjoy it,
he pondered. Throughout the day, he'd done his best to kill time. He'd tried on all his outfits several times in an attempt to look smart but still cool. Though this hadn't taken long because he only had 2 outfits. Harry had also decided to have a shave with his Victor Kayam Remington electric shaver. The one with the advert that went, "I like the shaver so much, I bought the company." He flicked the shaver on and it buzzed into life, and he shaved above his top lip and worked his way down to his chin. But again, this hadn't taken long, as he only had 2 hairs above his lip and just the one on his chin. So that just left his spots, and lucky for him, he had plenty of those. At last, though, after what seemed like an age, the time to leave eventually arrived, and he looked in his bedroom mirror at the finished product. And as he looked, he could feel the butterflies fluttering around inside his stomach. He'd been on dates before, well, just the one, but this was definitely uncharted waters. This was Division 1 and Victoria was Leeds United, right at the top. Not that Jennifer wasn't also Division 1, but she was more, well, Liverpool. Good, but not as good as Leeds United. He straightened his collar, then combed his hair until the last elusive, sticky-up bit fell into place, and then he spoke to himself.
"Well, Harry, you don't look half bad, but I hope it's not all in vain, lad."
He wished his reflection good luck for the final time, and then tore himself away from the mirror.
"You're not doing court today, are you, Harold Spider?"
asked his mother, as he appeared in the sitting room.
"Oh, yes, mother. At this time of evening. Yeah, I'm sure I am."
"I've heard he's got a hot date with a young lady from that new Willow Tree estate," smiled his father knowingly. Mrs. Spider looked surprised.
"Is that true, Harold?"
His younger brother Dicky, who was for some reason reading War and Peace upside down, piped up,
"In his dreams he has."
Harry ignored Dicky's comment and answered his mother.
Well, it's a sort of date." "What do you mean, a sort of date? Either you have or you haven't."
He hesitated for a moment longer. Should I tell them or should I not? And like all adolescents, he opted for the latter.
"It's just a bit complicated, that's all." "Well, it would be lovely if you had got in a nice girl from the Willow Tree estate. She might be able to calm you down a bit. You're getting a wee bit old for hanging around on street corners."
Come on, Mum, save the lecture, will ya?
"Well, I'm only saying."
Well, don't, Mother.
"Go on then, off with your son, and here's 10 pence. Have a good time and give us a kiss before you go."
And she chased him around the sofa.
"Get out of it, Mother,"
he said, as he made a run for the door, as he hadn't kissed his mother since he was old enough to fend her off.
"Don't forget your rubber johnnies,"
shouted Dicky.
"Dicky, where do you get your expressions from?"
Dicky flinched and dropped the big and bouncy boobs magazine that he was reading behind War and Peace. His father grabbed it before his wife saw. Anything for a quiet life. At least, that's why I think he grabbed it. Harry stepped into the hallway and checked himself in the hall mirror for the last time before his date, in inverted commas. He tucked his t-shirt into his jeans and smiled. His white teeth shone through his tan, and he gave himself his best-looking angle to bolster his confidence.
Not bad, I suppose,"
he mumbled to himself. "Good luck, son!" shouted his father.
"Yeah, thanks, Dad."
And he stepped out of the house and closed the door behind him.
"I reckon I'm gonna need it."
And he headed nervously into the warm evening for what was probably a complete waste of time. He tried to walk at an angle to the breeze to stop the sticky-up bit of hair sticking back up. He must have looked rather stupid, but he didn't care, because the wave of expectation that was carrying him along had rendered him completely oblivious to the world around him. In fact, he couldn't help but feel an overwhelming urge to whistle a happy tune. So he pursed his lips together and blew. But when a low-pitched farting noise came out, he remembered. He couldn't actually whistle. But it was still a wonderful idea, so he hummed instead. Harry then cast his eyes across the gardens of the council estate. Some were tidy, and some were not. But today, he only noticed the tidy ones. Even the weeds were invisible to him, for all he could see was a myriad of wonderful rich colours blossoming all around him wondrously, and he couldn't help but wonder at this wonderful wonderland that he was so wonderfully privileged to exist in. And then he had an idea for world peace. A wonderful way to solve all the unrest in the world would be to get the warring sides together around a negotiating table with flowers on, and then say to them, "Haven't you ever wondered at the wonderful natural beauty of a simple flower?" All wars would then cease, and that would be, now then, what's the right word? Ah, yes, bloody wonderful. Then suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, Harry spotted a familiar figure. Oh shit, this probably wasn't so wonderful. It was Jennifer. With all the excitement, he'd completely forgotten all about her. But there she stood, arms folded and head arched to one side. The road separated them, but it was still close enough to be frozen in her arctic glare and be catapulted out of his wonderful wonderland.
"You're smartly dressed, Harold," she
said in a tone that he did not recognise.
"I'm truly flattered that you went to all that effort for little old me."
Shit, he thought. I arranged to meet Jennifer tonight as well. I'm in for it now. He had to think quickly. "Ah, here you are, Jennifer. I've been looking for you."
"Oh, have you now?"
"Oh, yes, and now I've found you."
"Yes, here I am, and—"
Shit, I'm going to be late for Victoria. Think. "Ah, yes, I came all this way, especially to tell you that I can't make it tonight." Jensen, Simon and Tracy were stood a short distance away, but within earshot. Harry looked over, and he felt, in some way, that he was also betraying them. After all, they were his best friends. But on the other hand, he was moving on to bigger and better things, so that really wasn't his problem. Harry turned to Jennifer and decided just to come straight out with it. I mean, what could she say? It wasn't as though they were a couple, was it? At least, he didn't think they were. So he sighed sympathetically and broke it to her fairly gently. "Well, Jennifer, I can't make it tonight because—" She looked at him with big brown eyes wide in anticipation. He could see that her hair had been newly styled, and he guessed that she'd had it done just for him. Suddenly, the supposed man-eater looked very vulnerable indeed, and so he decided to do the honourable thing. He lied. "Look, Jennifer, I have to visit my auntie tonight. She's been taken very ill, you see. It was all very sudden, so I hope you understand." It was cruel, but necessary. After all, the gorgeous Victoria might not even show up, and Jennifer would be none the wiser, so where was the harm? So he continued, "I'm sorry, but I haven't got a choice. I'll see you later, I promise." There, he'd managed to spare her feelings. It had been the right thing to do.
"Yes, okay, Harry. I suppose that can't be helped. You be on your way now, and go and comfort your poor sick auntie."
"Okay, Jennifer, I will, and I'm glad you understand." There, the deed had been done, and it hadn't even been that difficult. and now everybody was happy.
Oh, and Harry? Yes, Jennifer? Your label stuck out.
Oh, thanks, Jennifer. And he smiled and tucked it back in.
We can't have you meeting Victoria like that, can we?
And she spun on the spot and stomped away.
Shit! She knew all along. Jennifer, wait! She might not even turn up, or something.
But she ignored him, and it didn't take a genius to figure this one out. He looked over to Simon and Jensen to find his betrayer. Simon shrugged his shoulders to proclaim his innocence, but Jensen just stood there, unrepentant.
Thanks a lot, Jensen. I'll do the same for you one day,
warned Harry. But, to Jensen's surprise, Harry didn't confront him any further. He just turned and went on his way. Jensen caught Jennifer up to try and console her. Hey girl, don't be upset. He'll be back. I can guarantee you that.
Who said I'm upset? I'm not upset. I'm just angry, that's all. He made a complete fool out of me.
Well, don't be angry either, because as they say, there's plenty more fish in the sea. And he placed a consoling arm around her waist and smiled to himself and thought, job done. As Harry walked away from his friends, he wasn't angry at Jensen. He was more doubting him. Maybe he wasn't the friend he'd thought he was. It seemed now that girls were on the scene, their friendship had turned into more of a competition. But he couldn't be bothered with all of that. He looked at it philosophically. Although Harry was the one who hadn't quite told the truth, he didn't feel as though he was in the wrong. Because sometimes in life, you have to not quite tell the truth, just to make things easier for everybody. Harry then rambled to himself. I'm just like that Greek bloke, you know, from history. Oh, what's his name? God, I should know, he's got the same first name as me. Aristotle, that's it. He said, a friend to all is a friend to none. So maybe I should choose my friends more carefully. And I'm moving up in the world, so I don't need those fair-weathered friends. And at that moment, he really believed that he was right about everything.